Hello, fight friends. Andy Cotterill at House of Champions here with Mike Malott and Jeff Malott. If you're watching this channel, you know that this is a mixed martial arts channel, so you know the guy in the middle. What you might not realize is he has a larger, younger, better-looking twin brother. No, I'm just joking, of course. Not that I don't know, I'm just rambling already. So, guys, I wanted to take a chance to speak with you together because I always found it interesting anyway how you can have siblings in a family that both achieve success in different areas. Mike, you're doing really well in the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Jeff, you're an up-and-coming hockey player, play for the Manitoba Moose, and who knows where you're going to end up. Maybe the big leagues there as well. So I'm curious to know, and I'm sure the people out there are curious to know what it was like growing up together and how competitive it was, and did you push each other on, or was there rivalry or camaraderie, or what was there?
I feel like it might not have been necessarily between each other or the three of us with Lauren, our sister, who was a high-level athlete as well. But I feel like we were just three really competitive kids in general. I know I was. I know Catherine was. Jeff, you seemed to be really competitive too. Just as kids, felt like it was just kind of like a standard to try and do well in sports as a kid. It wasn't something I felt like our parents pushed us like crazy to do or anything. I just felt like naturally the three of us really, really hated losing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like Mike said, kind of the standard of just like, I feel like growing up, if we were getting involved in any type of sport, it was to, compete and do our best and try and win. And I mean, as, a younger sibling, having two older siblings that do well in their sports, it's just kind of some motivation. And, you see the work ethic, you see the commitment, and it, it kind of just becomes your baseline and kind of, for me, it gave me a great path to kind of allow me to succeed in my sport as well.
Yeah, for sure. So what we see sometimes with other sibling athletes is that they end up in the same sport. So Mike has famously talked about hiding his copy of UFC 53 under the mattress and watching it a million times when other kids might have had other things under their mattress. He's 5 years older. Did you watch him? I'm surprised. Did you ever think about going into fighting, or how did hockey become your passion?
Yeah, I think hockey was even my passion before Mike got into fighting. I think it was both just that first sport we were thrown into, and then, I mean, having an older brother to play with, it's like either in the backyard rink, either you kind of step up to their level or you get kicked off. So it was like, that was kind of, how I hung around. And I mean, yeah, hockey, I'm just lucky where hockey was the kind of the first sport I picked up and the one I kind of fell in love with. And yeah, with fighting, Mike would always bring me in summers to the gym and give me a little bit of an exposure to kickboxing and jiu-jitsu. And yeah, I love the sport. And now that, now that I'm kind of established in my sport here, I love coming into the gym with Mike and adding some tools to, that are applicable to hockey as well.
Yeah. Well, I was watching you guys together. Of course, you get along really well. I'm not sure if it was like that when you were very young, but you guys are having a great time together, just joking around after the training session that Mike had today. You've got a heck of a wheel kick, of a question mark kick. So was that something, was he your main training partner growing up? Did you test all your stuff on him?
Well, we were joking earlier, it's like I'd be watching UFC and he'd walk in the room at the wrong time and I'm like, a triangle choke. I think I got the gist of it. Hey, Jeff, come on over here. And I was faster than him when we were young, and I was 5 years older and way bigger. So if he tried to run away, I'd grab him and triangle choke him or try my best to squeeze him with something. Let me try this move out real quick. But yeah, I used to bring him into the first gym I used to train at, Bronze Martial Arts in Waterdown, and he did 1 or 2 summers there with me. But as far as getting into hockey and mixed martial arts, that was my first sport too. That was the one I wanted to go pro in. When I was a kid, that was the dream. Every other Canadian kid was to be a pro NHL player, and I just sucked at hockey, so I wasn't going anywhere. I played single A for a few years, but never at any kind of real high level. Kind of seemed really naturally to come to him. Just he seemed to understand the game a lot more than I did. I was kind of a ADD spaz, and I just couldn't focus in on the game, which is kind of funny to say considering how much focus MMA takes and how much strategy and understanding every intricate position. But for some reason, the puzzle of MMA settled my mind, whereas most things just made it more sporadic. So this kind of became a way for me to focus myself. So that's kind of one of the things that drew me into mixed martial arts.
Nice. So hockey is a very much a team sport. You're with a bunch of other players on the ice. You've got your coaching staff. Some people think that mixed martial arts or being a fighter is a solo sport. It's not really, because in order to be successful, you have to have a team as well, right? You've got Alain, you've got your teammates here at House of Champions. But when the bell rings, when the fight starts, there's only 3 people in that cage. There's you, the referee, and the guy that you're fighting. So do you take any solace being in there by yourself, or do you prefer that, like being able to rely on you only during that 15 minutes?
Yeah, so I like both aspects of it. Like, to me, it definitely is a team sport until you compete. I think the main 2 disciplines that it would, actually the large 2 disciplines that it would draw from would be like striking and grappling, where striking arts seem to tend to be more independent sports, especially boxing. It's like a team built around one guy, versus like wrestling on the other end of that spectrum. You look at like a collegiate wrestling team, it's all about the team. Like, even the team gets scored throughout the year rather than just like one person. MMA is kind of like the mix between the 2, where there's a bit of both, and while I do have a team built around me, I do have an unbelievable team full of like a bunch of different coaches and a bunch of different teams, and everyone works really well together. So I do thrive in that team environment as far as training in the gym, but I do also love, at very short periods of time in my life, being the center of attention. Like, when it comes to being in the fight, like, I like that it's about me, and when I do my job well, I get to reap the rewards on behalf of my team. I like that a lot.
Yeah, of course. How could you not? It's got to feel pretty special to know that you can elevate the whole team just by your actions.
Yeah, some people might view that as pressure, but I view it as privilege.
Yeah, nicely said.
Thank you.
So going back to your siblings' rivalry now, or whatever it is, maybe not even rivalry. So your parents have 2 really high-level athletes. Your sisters as well. They were a competition. They're competition swimmers, right? Synchronized, or skaters. Sorry, skaters. Yeah.
Synchronized skater, and one was a world medalist synchronized skater, Lauren, and Catherine's the one who's going to play university rugby next year. So another high-level athlete.
So when it comes to parents' relationships with their children, I'm sure there are a lot of parents out there who would cringe at the idea of their children not going to college, not going to university, not getting a corporate office job, becoming a lawyer, dentist, whatever have you. Your parents must be really, I don't know if easygoing is the right word. What are your parents like? Describe them to me.
I would not have described our parents as easygoing growing up.
Supportive.
Yeah,
supportive.
Very supportive. Yeah. They were very strict and like pushed us academically, which is funny because I never did very well in academics, but when it comes to sports, they were very supportive. It's like, we'll drive you to everything that you need to do, and we'll sign you up for everything that you need to do, but that's kind of on you. And it was, it's odd that we were pushed more academically than sports, and we've kind of all thrived in the sports. I'm not really sure why that happened.
It was probably just that, like, if you're signing up to do something, you're signing up to do, like, to give it your best effort. And I mean, it was the same with school, and yeah, they did a great job of making sure we all had a backup plan. They're making sure you went out east, making sure I went to school and got to play hockey at school. Like, yeah, I think they were just, maybe they weren't easygoing, but they were just supportive in terms of making sure that we were well-rounded, athletes and people.
I think they also just set the bar pretty high with like their own work ethics. Like, both of them were and are like really, really hard workers, and kind of grew up seeing that our whole lives, and that just kind of became the standard.
When you talked a few minutes ago about the privilege you have of being a fighter in this position, it sounds like you're pretty privileged when it comes to your family and the sport you have as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even just talking about, having a team in both sports, it's like it's the same thing at home. Like, yeah, we wouldn't have the success, we wouldn't be, established in our sports if it weren't for, those car rides and the support, and having both parents being all in on whatever venture we wanted to go and whatever direction we wanted to go. So yeah, it's definitely a privilege.
Nice. So Jeff, I'm going to focus on you now for a couple minutes, but I'm going to focus on you to focus on Mike.
I thought this was an MMA website, but whatever.
Well, that's because you have no patience, young Padawan. You should listen to the rest of my question. So Jeff, enough about you. Let's talk about Mike. Yeah. So your big brother, 5 years older, is going to be in possibly the biggest fight of his life in terms of exposure and just something he wants to do because he's fighting in Canada for the UFC for the first time. Explain to everybody watching what you, your parents, your siblings, your hockey team, what other Canadians that you know in your sphere think about your brother fighting in the UFC and what it means to them.
Man, we were talking about this last night. It's like, yeah, I'm glad you went beyond our family and, to teammates and just other people around Canada, because he's got the whole country behind him. He's got the whole country in his corner, and I can't bump into anybody that knows MMA and doesn't have just incredible things to say about him and his work ethic and his skill set. Again, it feels like a privilege to just witness this and just be a part of, this absolute, steamrolling of momentum. Like he's worked so hard. I've been, lucky enough to see his work ethic outside of the gym for the last 15 years and catch some of that work ethic inside of the gym as well. And it's very, very, special to just watch his development as an athlete and have him as a role model.
What was going through your mind when you watched him first win his Dana White's Contender Series fight in I don't even know how many seconds with a guillotine choke? It was over really quickly. Then he had his great knockout in his UFC debut. Then another submission. It's just happening so fast for him. It's like he's just doing everything right. What do you think when that happens?
It's the crazy part is it keeps happening. Right, it's like these first round finishes, and we were talking about his flying knee out east a couple minutes ago, and it's like that's just the fashion. Like he finds ways. It's either he's choking guys out or he's knocking guys out. He's so versatile, and yeah, I'm really excited to be able to watch this one in person because it's been a lot of excitement from the watching on TV and being able to watch with my teammates over the last year and a half here, and oh man, it's incredible that his style is just continuing to develop and continuing to have those kind of early finishes. It's something that you think like, oh, okay, he'll get into a longer fight, or he'll make us wait here, or give us some more to watch. But it's just he keeps finding ways. First round finishes. It's crazy. Yeah.
I think it's pretty rude that he's not giving you guys more time in the cage to watch,
Exactly. We get all psyched up. I bring all my friends over. I buy the pay-per-view and everything to watch. We invest in it. And
It's like, don't blink.
We get 39 seconds in the Contender Series, and we get a couple minutes in his debut. It's like, don't blink.
Look, when you go to a fancy, beautiful restaurant, do they fill your plate up with everything they can put on it, or is it a nice little sample of some well-made food on a decorative plate? That's more what I'm looking for.
They keep you wanting more.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, fight friends, there you go. We're going to be getting a solo interview with Mike later on the week. So when you see this, don't worry, there's more coming. I just couldn't pass up on an opportunity to get the brothers together and just kind of carry on that sort of joking and atmosphere you guys hear after training session. I love watching it. It was wonderful. I didn't grow up having a brother like that in my life, so seeing it, I love watching it. So congratulations on both of you and your success. Thanks, Jeff, for speaking with us. I appreciate it. And Mike, good luck at UFC.
Thanks, Andy.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, fight friends, there you go. Watch Mike Malott at UFC 289 on June 10th in Vancouver. And Jeff Malott, Manitoba Moose. When does the season start again?
Start back up in October.
Nice. So there you go. If you're a fight fan or a hockey fan, or if you're a hockey fan, you can watch hockey and fighting. So there you go. Have a good one.